prayers and hopes go up on that wall. The search continues. The search zone has expanded tremendously. U.S. military resources are now heading into the Indian Ocean. A bit earlier, Pentagon correspondent Barbara Starr of CNN spoke with our Piers Morgan about why that area is now getting attention.
A senior U.S. official now telling CNN exactly what you said. There is a strong likelihood that the flight is at the bottom of the Indian Ocean. Why do they come to this conclusion? Well, the Malaysians have now given the U.S. in the last 24 hours some access to key data, essentially pings from the airplane as it flew 4 to 5 hours out over the Indian Ocean to satellites. The U.S. has analyzed all of that and now concludes that it did fly over the Indian Ocean. Basically, these pings match the airframe, the type of engines that was this flight, and there is no correlating transponder information. And as we know now, the transponder, for some reason, was turned off, stopped working. So they have a flight out over the Indian Ocean, correlates to this exact type of airplane with no transponder. They believe that's where the flight has come to rest. Piers?
Barbara, why are they so convinced that it may have gone to the bottom of the ocean when many other people are theorizing from this information about the pings that it could potentially have been hijacked or stolen to order and landed somewhere? Why do they believe it has actually crashed into the sea?
Well, I think there's a couple of questions here. One is, what caused the plane to disappear, if you will? Was it a deliberate act? Was it sabotage? Was it espionage? Was it sabotage? Was it some kind of hijacking? We do not know the answer to that. Nobody at the moment really knows the answer to that because they have no definitive intelligence or information that leads them to believe it was an act of terrorism, sabotage, a deliberate act, pilot suicide, any of these theories that we've all heard for the last several days. What they do have is data, information now, highly technical data that tells them the likely path of the plane. In other words, where it is, not why and how it exactly got there. There is also a very key radar blip, if you will, from the Malaysians that showed the plane turning around. Instead of heading to China, it's heading off the west coast of the Malay Peninsula. That was one of their first indications. Now they have the correlating other satellite data. So they're beginning to put the clues together, beginning to put the pieces together, all of this leading them now to turn their attention to the Indian Ocean.
Barbara Starr there. Well, let's get a check of the weather in Australia now, where heavy rains and high winds are making their way to the north coast this weekend. Samantha Moore with us again. Samantha.
Yes, Natalie, we have a meeting.